Hold on. Eevee. Gotta catch an Eevee. Got it. Oh, hey, I was just going through my Pokemon cards like a normal 29-year-old man. It's not weird, you're weird. Hey, so my name's Salt. I'm one of the co-hosts of Pokemon Go Radio, the podcast. We're really excited. We've got this YouTube channel. We're going to be bringing a lot of cool video content in the coming weeks, especially from Pokemon Go Fest, which is why we created the channel, so it could be a home for a lot of that cool video. So, like I said, my name's Salt. I know a lot of people are probably really curious to meet our other co-host in person. So, Nar, why don't you say hi? Hello, everyone. This is Papa Narwhal. Salt better not be doing something stupid with the video editing right now. Thanks, Nar. We're really excited about Pokemon Go Fest, so stay tuned to the channel for all the updates we can possibly give you. If you need live updates, boom, check it out here, Video Magic, our Twitter handle. You can check us out there. We've got our podcast coming up next here in the YouTube video, so you can listen to it here on YouTube as well as on iTunes or Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. Check it out, share it with your friends, do whatever. And like I said, we're really excited about meeting a bunch of you at Pokemon Go Fest. But in the meantime, go freaking catch them all. We good? Man, I am getting really good at video editing. I mean, like, suspiciously good at it. Like, flawless. Hey, Nard, before we get started, I just want to say happy anniversary. It's been a great year of recording podcasts, and I couldn't have done it without you.
July 14th, 2016, that was our first podcast. I can't believe it's already been a year. That's nuts.
Obviously, I got you a little something, so it'll be arriving in the mail, and it's just a representation, a memento, if you will, of all the hard work you've put in this year.
I didn't know we were... I got you something, too. It's right here. It's for you. It's a...
That's a glass of white rum.
Mm-hmm.
Straight.
Oh, God.
I don't want that.
It's
no one wants that.
It burns all the way down.
Did you forget our anniversary?
Yeah, I didn't remember it.
I thought this meant something to you, and clearly I was wrong. Our anniversary has passed.
It's going to be fun. Episode 51 of Pokemon Go Radio, the place for everything Pokemon Go. My name is Papa Narwhals, a.k.a. Nar, and I'm joined by two co-hosts, neither of which I'm currently married to, legally, I would say.
No, not legally.
Not legally, just in my heart.
Yeah, definitely in the heart.
We got a really special show for you guys because I'm
Can we not be married in the heart? Can we be married, like, the shin, maybe? That's about as much as I'm willing to dedicate.
You two are married in, like, the brain, the face, the eyes,
the womb,
ears. Yeah,
I think.
The womb. You two are married in the womb.
We did have a name for because we were identical twins and we split, and we called that person before we split. His name was Trent, so in case anyone wants to know, that's what his name was. But if those voices you are hearing just talk nonsense with me are confusing you, that's because one of them belongs to Salt. Tell him what's up, Salt.
Hey, everybody, what's going on? My name is Salt, capital S-A-L-T. This is Pokemon Go Radio, the place where we talk tips, tricks, and provide that sense of community out there for everyone who loves this game just as much as we do. And speaking of community, we've got one of our favorite pillars of the community over there in Texas. Pure Lust is back on the show, everybody.
Yes, back from episode 10.
Was it really episode 10?
Episode 10.
Oh my gosh. That is crazy.
40 episodes without me.
Oh no, Salt, what
finally bring me back for 41.
Salt, what episode are you counting this one as?
Technically, this is 36.
51, but...
Pure Lust was our second guest ever. We had Glenn Weldon on, I think, like episode 6 or 7. You were like our first in-studio guest, our first Pokemon aficionado that came on, and we've just been racking it up ever since. It's only fitting that we have you back for this momentous occasion.
When I predicted that Gen 2 was going to happen this summer, yeah.
This game has come a far, far way in the last 6 months. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I'm pretty excited about it. But just wanted to say off the top, honestly had no idea that we'd make it a year of podcasting. It freaks us out. It makes us happy. The show has grown. It seems to grow every month. And we're just really thankful for those of you who listen that aren't blood relatives of us. It's confusing, but we are humbled by it.
Does your mom still listen to the podcast?
She's actually never listened to one.
Oh.
She has no idea what a podcast is.
Couldn't find it if she wanted to.
Even if you explained it to her, there's no chance. Speaking of things that don't make any sense, Meme of the Week is up next. Of course, Meme of the Week is our weekly segment where we find fun memes and then Papa Narwhal describes them to you to eliminate any form of joy or humor that could be presented by this visual medium. And we have got just the Venn diagram for enjoyment this week is pretty small.
Yeah, I think if you understand what I'm talking about, you're going to love it, but the other 90% of you are just going to shake your head and wonder, and I think that's about right.
I don't think 10% is going to get this one.
David sent this one in, and we're pretty excited. He is asking Niantic for a Nigel Thornberry of the Wild Thornberries update. And if you guys aren't familiar with the Wild Thornberries, it was a Nickelodeon show that was on like 1999, 1998-ish, somewhere around there. And the father was like this guy who would go on safaris, way more British, rolled around in an RV, girl could talk to animals. It's not important. But all you need to know is that he's very British. And so David sent us a meme where you've got a bunch of different Pokemon, and his Nigel Thornberry's catchphrase was, "Smashing!" I can't do a British accent, I apologize. Smashing! And so they've got a picture of his face creepily photoshopped onto a Geodude, a Magikarp, a Rapidash, a Sandslash, and a Gyarados, and it's just all kinds of ing present progressive dashing, thrashing, slashing, and it is truly haunting.
Splashing was my favorite for Magikarp.
I'm pretty sure that I'm going to have nightmares about this meme tonight.
It's that nose.
If you would like your memes described in the show, just make sure you're tweeting or emailing us in. You can tweet them in at Pokemon Go_radio. You can always email them in info@PokemonGoRadio.com. We absolutely love the memes. Feel free to tag those in, and we'll read them out on the show. Or use them to haunt Lust's nightmares, I guess.
Their primary purpose, I would say. Rolling into the news this week, we got a lot of information from Niantic about Pokemon Go Fest, and we're going to talk about that. But before we get to that, we got to drop our tasty news nuggets. And one of the things I wanted to comment, which I think is important but is lost on some people, and it's kind of like the what to do with your rare candy. Pidgey Grabba, stop grabbing in Pidgeys. He sent an email and was kind of talking back and forth about saying that his strategy has been he's using his rare candies on Pokemon that it would take 5 kilometers for a buddy, right? So like think Tyranitar, Dratini, all those guys, you would have to walk 5 kilometers. Instead of using his rare candy on something like a Machop or a Magikarp, God forbid, that would be a lot quicker to walk, you kind of get that efficiency in there. And that's been his strategy, which I think is a pretty good strategy if your goal is to max up these Pokemon as hard as possible. But we were actually talking to Lust earlier, and he says it's a good idea to hold on to them candies.
I actually have two takes on this. One, you want to keep your rare candy for the legendaries, the legendary birds, the legendary dogs, Mewtwo.
I don't know what noise they make.
I don't either, but it's just going to happen. You're going to want that rare candy. You're going to want to save it.
Japanese.
Because you know that you're going to be very disappointed when you're able to do maybe 2-3 legendary raids. You get maybe 2 or 3 of them. And yeah, you can use it as a buddy. You can walk that buddy maybe. I mean, we don't know what they're going to do yet. But you might be able to walk the buddy, but you want that rare candy so you can just have the satisfaction of leveling that Pokemon up right away.
I think it'd be really disappointing to have like this badass legendary Pokemon and not be able to power it up.
Exactly. I mean, Niantic has pretty much already said you're not going to be able to put them into gyms, but you still want to be able to fight with those Pokemon.
Have they said that?
Yes,
I haven't seen that yet.
They have said you're not going to be able to put them into gyms.
And I think that makes sense. Again, this is all speculation. We don't know what system is going to be used to power up the legendaries. You might need special items. We don't know. But having that multi-tool, that universal adapter of rare candies, at least for the next 2 weeks till we figure out what's going on with legendaries, probably a good idea. Also, important note, when I was thinking about walking the legendary birds, if I catch a legendary bird and make him my buddy, if in the buddy screen he is not perched atop my shoulders, I'm deleting my account.
That bird's going to be bigger than you.
I want to ride it. I want to ride it like Falcor.
We should ride the legendary birds, just like we should have been able to ride Dragonite, too, like you were supposed to.
That would have been dope.
But the other take I have on this also is the rare candy is actually making the buddy system almost obsolete.
Yeah.
There's almost no point to walk that buddy any longer, especially when you can just take the rare candy and use it right away if you want to. If you want to use it that way. If you're like, I don't care about the legendaries, legendaries don't phase me. Why not just use that candy to power up your Blissey?
Think about that.
It's much easier.
The cost benefit, you're right, is all out of whack. I can
completely.
get 8 rare candies from a level 3. It's not every time, but I can get 5 rare candies from a level 3 raid, which I can solo, versus that's like, God, I'm going to have to do math. 40 kilometers worth of walking? Crazy. It just doesn't add up. I'm going to spend that $1 and go do that raid and just save myself the headache. So really, to me, you're completely right. Buddies have just been on autopilot for me. I don't even care about it right now.
And it's making egg hatching kind of useless as well, too.
It's just sort of a background benefit. And I like that it's sort of like, oh, hey, cool. But back in the day, I would go out for the specific purposes of catching... I'd go out on my Pokemon excursion that day, be like, I don't really care what I'm doing. I'm walking my Chansey today. That's what I'm doing. And everything else is sort of secondary. Now the buddy system is just one of them added perks, which, it's cool, it's great, but it's definitely not something that I'm 100% in on.
Not when you're sitting with 119 rare candy.
Oh, I hate you so much.
Nerd. I'm up to 60. What are you at, Nar?
40? Something like 40?
I knew that. I just wanted you to say it.
What did I use? I used a few on something. I don't remember what it was.
Your Amphimos.
Oh, yeah, I did. I just couldn't wait, so have I used it yet? Did I evolve my Amphimos? We'll cut this out. Next news nugget, we got to give a big thank you to the folks that have contributed to our GoFundMe account. Guys, I thank you so much to Abigail, Maggie, April, David, Casey, Steven, Neil, Rudy, and David R. Guys, thank you so much for that. It really it means a lot to us. It really does. This is obviously going to be an expensive endeavor. And to have you guys supporting us, I'm being obsequious, but I really just thank you guys. Thank you guys a lot.
It could be Cassie. So Cassie, if that's your name.
We've said it both ways now, so just in case.
We've had a couple fun comments when people sent in. David says he loves the clever, informative, and funny host, Cough Walls Cough. That hurts, David. And David R. said, by accepting this donation, you agree to trade me a legendary for a Pidgey once trading is added to the game.
Legally, I think it's binding. We have to give him our legendary.
We have to?
Yeah, no, it's...
you can have the Moltres.
David, you should have made it plural. You only said trade me a legendary, so that's on you, buddy.
Ho-ho.
Nobody likes Ho-ho. You can have my Ho-ho. I don't care about that.
Transfer him.
Oh.
Another thing that we're really excited about, and we didn't want to make this like a huge deal or anything, is that for the first time ever, we have started a YouTube channel. Now, we're not going to be YouTubing and being all about that. Our primary focus is always going to be about the podcast. But because of Pokemon Go Fest, we are going to be filming some videos, doing some stuff, and we needed a place to upload it. And so we created a YouTube channel just for that purpose. And every now and then it'll get some love as we upload old things to it or upload some video content to it. We have a home for that now. So it's not going to be our primary thing, but it's going to be something that we're going to do. And we're pretty excited about it. Actually, if you guys want to head over there right now, you can actually see, I think, tiny little pictures of us as we sort of have an intro video. And I think Salt's going to explain something about kind of the purpose of the channel. And stay tuned to that. This coming Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll put some videos around Pokemon Go Fest up and on that. And we'll probably do some stuff later on in the future, which, if we do something with it, we'll announce it on the podcast. But we're pretty excited about that. And thank you guys so much for all your support. We feel like we want to do that because everyone's been just so generous with their donations and helping us get to Pokemon Go Fest. We just want to go the extra mile to pay back the support that you guys have given us. So if you're interested in seeing tiny pictures of what we actually look like in real life, you can go to the YouTube channel right now. The link is in the description of the podcast, and we'll link it on the website, PokemonGoRadio.com. And I'm sure if you just search YouTube, you can find that as well. And yeah, we're pretty excited about it. It's going to be a good week.
If you feel like donating, we've still got a week left to Pokemon Go Fest, and we're still taking donations just to help out with costs. Again, there's no reason you need to. We're going to go anyway. But you can check out the link in the description of this podcast and donate to our GoFundMe. And again, we really super appreciate it. And thanks to everybody that's done so. Okay, enough asking people for money. Speaking of money, Missing coins. There's been multiple reports of trainers not getting their coins even before hitting the cap. Your Kingler, your Nidoqueen, whatever Pokemon you decide to dump off at Pokemon Daycare that day comes back and you still haven't got your coins. You should be getting a fat refund, and then all of a sudden, no coins and no explanation.
Niantic has publicly come out and said that they've looked into these claims and they're not seeing any bugs. So from their perspective, this is basically an instance where people aren't either A, understanding the way the gym system is supposed to work, or B, just not realizing that they hit the cap that day. So just as a quick refresh, guys, remember, you can only get 50 coins a day. If a Pokemon comes home with 50 coins, there's no más coins, no más dinero por dia. Did I do that right? I think that was right. My Spanish is getting better, I think. Point is, it might be a situation where folks aren't remembering that they maybe got, some coins at 8 a.m. and then, your Snorlax comes home at 9 p.m. But there are a lot of people saying that they aren't getting their coins. And I find that pretty interesting and also, if it's true, pretty infuriating.
I'm also finding that people are still just not understanding how the gym system works. People don't understand that it's just 50 still, and they're not getting to that point yet. So I think a lot of people are still behind a little bit. In fact, I've seen a lot of people say that they are coming back to the game after being away for a certain period of time. I actually don't buy that this is happening.
What do you think, Salt? Are we crazy? Is this for real?
I don't know. It hasn't happened to me yet. I've been monitoring it. There has been a couple times where I've thought this might be happening, but I went back and checked, and I'm like, oh, nope, for sure, I hit my cap. I would advise everybody to check your numbers, and we're going to look into it. If you are experiencing it and you know this for sure, definitely tweet us. We want to be a voice out there for that. But so far, Niantic hasn't have it confirmed. We haven't personally seen it, so if you guys want to help us out with some Poke Science, just tweet or email us and let us know.
I will say, someone pointed out this could be easily solved if Niantic just would include this in the journal about who brought home coins at what time. Then you could check it yourself. And I just like that feature for my own edification as well. That'd be a pretty cool ad.
Agreed.
Well, and there have been times that I've missed the notification that my Pokemon has come back. And then I'll look at my coins and be like, oh, yep, got the coins. Okay.
Okay, Nar, introduce us to this new segment that you've thought up.
I remember last week...
Segnug. It's a Segnug.
I remember a couple of weeks ago when I randomly remembered that fighting does good on ice. And I thought, you know what?
I did not remember. I remembered that.
Yeah, so you pointed it out and then I remembered. You know what I'm saying? Like... My point is, I didn't have that knowledge. And so it kind of enthused me to go back and look at the old grid of type matchups. And I started doing a little research, and there's a lot of really obscure type stuff that I realized that I had forgotten. Everybody knows that water is good on fire. Everybody knows that fire is good on grass, right? Like, we get those basic ones. But the weird ones, I think that there's an opportunity to do some learning on this. So I'm proposing a new game that we play during the podcast. Anybody, any host, any guest host can throw it out at any time, and you just say, hey guys, true or false? Ghost is super effective against normal. And then the person can say true or false, and then if they're wrong, we can shame them publicly. In order to demonstrate this game, Salt, I have a challenge for you.
Hit it.
True or false? Fairy is not very effective against Fairy.
False.
Hold on, so Fairy is not very effective against Fairy.
You have a double negative there.
Yeah,
Mark.
that's so confusing.
You have to ask a
Fairy
positive
is not very
question.
effective. Fairy is not effective against Fairy.
Okay, you're wrong. Fairy is the same as anything else. There's no correlation. Fairy on Fairy is cool. What is what I'm saying? There's no damage reduction. So you are wrong. Shame to you for not knowing that.
No, shame to you, Nar, for using a double negative.
Agreed.
Shame.
Double negative like a Jolteon on a Gyarados.
True or false? Fairy is super effective against Dragon.
True.
It is true.
Yeah.
Fairy is super effective against Dragon for some reason.
Also in the original, this is important, but that's my game. We can shame you with your lack of knowledge. And I think also just for the wider community, just as a refresh on some of these really weird type matchups, because we're seeing so many new things in gyms, it's a good thing just to kind of refresh and see if we can catch people off guard.
We also have egg changes this week, so we have another big egg shakeup. Eggs picked up after July 8th will have these changes. Older eggs, of course, as always, will stay the same. We'll link the Reddit article that shows in the description, but a couple things that have changed. First of all, the most adorable thing in the entire game, 2K eggs will now hatch a Pichu with an ash hat.
Ash hat?
Ash hat?
Ash hat.
Ash
Ash
hat.
hat?
Ash hat.
Ash hat?
hat.
Also, Spinnerack has been added to 2Ks because I know it's probably hurting for Spinnerack.
Spinneracks have been showing up all over Houston, all over
They're
the place.
everywhere.
Everywhere.
Oh, hold on just a second. I think I can listen off into the distance from Jackson, Mississippi.
Spiders.
I hear a bagel noob freaking out.
Spiders.
I can hear him.
Spiders.
audibly crapping his pants with joy.
Not the spiders.
He loves those spiders. It's weird. The other, I think, biggest change to this whole thing was with the 5K eggs. And we'll talk about the good news, but just so you guys know, there's been a lot of things that have been added into 5K. Some stuff that I think is actually some pretty good news. You got Teddy Ursa, you got Totodile, you got Chikorita, you got Cyndaquil. You also got my boy Wooper, yay. You got Hoppip flying around for no reason. Swinub, that's awesome, especially before the Fire and Ice event. That would have been really awesome. Snubble, Nantu, and Meryl are all added to 5K eggs, but I don't think those are all cool, but those aren't the best news about 5K eggs.
The best news about 5K eggs is the fact that Pineco, Gligar, and Mantine are no longer in 10Ks.
Oh, yeah.
We did it, everybody.
I hatched 4 Mantines today in 10K eggs.
That sucks so bad.
Yeah, I really just wanted to jump out of the car and commit suicide.
Just somehow get under the car at the same time.
Yes.
That is awesome news, though. This has been something the whole community has been calling for months, to take these booby prizes from the 10K egg and move them down. I'm just thrilled with this.
When we first started the game, though, I mean, it feels like it's sort of cyclical. We first started the game, it was Pinsir. It was Scyther. It was those that we wanted. Eevee. We wanted to get out of the 10Ks, and they moved. Now it's Pineco, Gligar, and Mantine's turn to say, sayonara 10K, hello 5K. Yes! Now they'll be in 2Ks, and everybody will be happy.
I'm still not going to be happy when I hatch a Pineco.
Of course
I'm
not.
still going to be at least it won't be so crushing, but definitely hoping to get some high IV, Teddy Ursas, that kind of thing out of my 5Ks. Replacing those absolute destructive booby prizes, you got Porygon getting kicked up to 10K, and they added Chinchou for unknown reasons.
Yeah.
And I say unknown reasons as in add unknown.
I did hatch a Chinchou today in a 10K egg, and I have to say that I was very, very sad.
That's the only word to describe it. Just sadness.
Sad.
Not good, Niantic.
Because I like Chinchou.
But better.
I like Chinchou, and I especially like Chinchou's evolution.
Lantern? He's weird.
He's like a lantern.
Guys, Google
He's got a
male.
light.
Google male. What are they? Lanternfish. Google male lanternfish. It'll blow your mind. We don't have time to cover that on this podcast, but it's a weird biology.
Check out Deep Sea Radio for any coverage on that particular subject.
That's on the radio network.
Yeah, just check your radio. Hey, so you think they upped Porygon's chances? I mean, obviously there's a smaller pool in 10K, so you think we'll be hatching more Porygon?
Maybe. Certainly you'll get more candy when you do hatch one, because the amount of candy you're getting from 10K versus 5K is a lot larger. So even if you're hatching half as many Porygon, you're still going to be breaking even just because you're getting about double candy from going from 5 to 10. I think it's a weird move, honestly, because at this point, I think just about everybody's gotten enough Porygon for Porygon 2. I know I have. The Chinchou is the weird one to me because I get that every 10K egg can't be a Larvitar. I'm fine with that. And I'm glad that we get one booby prize added for 3 being taken out. But why Chinchou? That seems to be the most random Pokemon.
Well, especially since, I mean, at least in Houston, I can't say this for everywhere else, but Chinchou's everywhere.
Yeah.
You can get Chinchou. I can go out and find 5 Chinchous in 15 minutes. It's not that hard. So I think Chinchou is a poor choice. I mean, if they were going to do something like this, I mean, maybe I don't even know which Gen 2 you would put in there. I can't think of one that I would put in there. I think Porygon is not a bad choice because you get more candy. And I think, while I agree with Nar that a lot of us, big players, people who are out there all the time, are getting that Porygon 2, I think there are a few out there who still haven't finished it yet.
Do you know Porygon evolves again?
And Porygon does have a third evolution.
He evolves into Porygon as well. See how I did that? TOO?
Shut up.
Okay.
I'm actually walking Porygon right now. I've at 30 candies or so. And yeah, I switched them over to my buddy just to have that going because I'm obviously not going to use rare candy on him. And as we talked about earlier, the buddy system seems a more appropriate place for him now.
I did the same thing with my Togepi. The one thing that I thought was kind of odd is that I know back whenever we had the Extravaganza, we had the Gen 2 starters, Cyndaquil, Totodile, and Chikorita popping out of eggs, and that was just a temporary thing, and we kind of wondered about that. When they got introduced as raid Pokemon, I kind of thought this would take care of that. If you were just really hard up for Alligator, you just go do some Croconaw raids, and then there you go. but now they're randomly hatching out of 5K eggs. I don't need them. They're not good for anything, really. I mean, to me, they're just as good as like a Snubble or a Whooper at this point.
Feraligator's pretty good if you need some water Pokemon. It's got a decently high attack stat. It can throw some DPS around with a water gun hydro pump combo.
Well, and now that we're seeing gyms have a much more variety, I think you're going to see Typhlosions. I think you're going to see Feraligators. I mean, you're probably not going to see any of the
Meganium?
The
flower
Meganium.
dinosaur?
Also, Chikorita still sounds like a banana.
It is a banana.
always
It is a
will.
banana.
It's just weird.
Speaking of green bananas, see what I did? I did one of your horrible transitions. I just said, speaking of...
whatever. I want to talk about eggs real quick. It's not Mon that got away, but I hatched a Larvitar, my first Larvitar hatch, like 2 days ago. I'm appraising it, and I get, your Larvitar is simply amazing. I'm impressed with its HP. I'm just as impressed with its attack. I'm just as impressed with its defense. I'm like, oh, it's excellent. I was like, no.
Oh, I feel so bad for you. 13, 13, 13, 14, 14,
13,
14.
13, 13.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible. Throw it away.
I know, but I just really thought I had a perfect one.
Speaking of perfect ones, Niantic has got some less than perfect details. I don't know what I'm doing with what's going on at Pokemon Go Fest, the wider event. There's been a lot of confusion this week, and this is kind of our main story about what the heck is going on with Pokemon Go Fest. And just for a little bit of terminology, I'm going to call it the Grant Park team. And those are the people that are physically in Chicago for Pokemon Go Fest. That's your Grant Park team. And then there's also something else going on for everybody else that's outside of Grant Park. And I'm going to call those guys the global team. Just so as we kind of talk about it, because if we say Pokemon Go Fest, it kind of mixes people up. So we're just going to go with those terms.
Does the global team work for Globo Gym?
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
And they go hard in the paint.
Oh, wow.
So Niantic has released some details about what's happening. And in their statement, they say specifically, during the day, there will be 3 challenge windows in which trainers everywhere will work alongside the Chicago team, as Nar said, to unlock global rewards. During the challenge window, trainers in Grant Park will attempt to unlock perks for Pokemon Go players around the world by catching certain types of Pokemon. No pressure. Each Pokemon type will be tied to a different perk. So, trainers at the park will need to carefully choose which Pokemon they catch. Will those in attendance try to catch Electric-type Pokemon to reduce the distance required to hatch eggs, or Grass-type to increase Stardust bonuses? Obviously, yes.
Let me just say this right now to all of the trainers who are going to be in Grant Park. If you are not catching Grass-type Pokemon, you are dead to me.
I think I'm just going to troll people and just tweet out pictures of me catching rock Pokemon. Got to get that buddy distance bonus.
I will never speak to any of you again.
As far as what team the rest of the world is doing, trainers outside Chicago will attempt to catch as many Pokemon as possible during the challenge windows to extend the duration of these bonuses unlocked by those attending the event. If trainers around the world catch enough Pokemon, a mystery challenge will be unveiled in Grant Park that, once completed, will unlock an extra special bonus across the globe.
And that makes you the Keymaster, and I'm Zool, and oh my god,
Gatekeeper.
no wonder people are confused. Not only by my Ghostbusters references, but just like, that's a lot of stuff in that paragraph, and it seems really complicated, and that's why we're going to break it down phase by phase. And I think once you guys kind of go through it piece by piece, it's not as weird and scary as it sounds.
Yeah, we're going to link the Kotaku article that does a really good job of spelling this all out, and as well as the graphic that Niantic put out. But here's just the basic of how we get started in this. So phase 1 is the catch challenge. So these are the time/challenge windows. The first one starts at 11 to 11:30 Central Time. Next one, 12 to 12:30 Central. And then you've got 3 to 3:30 Central. Pretty easy. 3 times, 11, 12, and 3, half hour each.
For all of the listeners who are listening in different countries, this does mean that you are going to have to go out and catch at that time. So from 11 to 11:30 Central might be 11 to 11:30 p.m. your time. So you do need to make sure you're paying attention to those times.
Yeah, that's just something that you should go in, calculate what that is now. This is for July 22nd, that's Saturday. Go ahead and figure out what it is. I know it's kind of a bummer. Half the world's going to be asleep, but it's go time. You got to wake up.
I think it's going to be 2 a.m. in Japan. So 2 a.m. Get started.
It's going to get weird
ready.
in Tokyo. So those are the time windows. And for each of those 3 time windows, the 2 different teams are going to be doing 2 different things. So the Grant Park team, the people at Pokemon Go Fest, they're going to catch certain types of Pokemon to unlock the bonuses. And to give you an idea of what those bonuses look like, you've got the more fire Pokemon you catch, that's going to result in a candy bonus. Water Pokemon result in an XP bonus. Grass is that delicious Stardust. Electric gives you a bonus in your egg distance, so a reduced amount of distance you have to walk eggs. Rocks, the best ones of all, gives you a buddy distance bonus, hooray. And then, weirdly enough, normal Pokemon, a Pokemon type so boring I had to look up the metal, they give you an increased spawn rate or an encounter rate. So there's just basically going to be more Pokemon spawning. Before we ask, no, we don't know what these bonuses mean. We don't know if it's double candy, double XP, triple Stardust. We don't know any of that. We just know it's going to be some extra on top.
We're planning on releasing a Twitter poll so you guys can vote on which bonuses you want us to go for, so we can vehemently shout at people at Grant Park what people need to be catching. I have a couple concerns. First off, I hope they let us know challenge window to challenge window where we're at. My personal fear is we're going to go so hard on grass Pokemon that we're going to more than meet the window to unlock the reward for Stardust by triple. And we're not going to be okay, let's go down to priority number 2, which is fire Pokemon or XP or whatever it is. That's my concern. So I hope there's some way for us to know, hey, you guys in challenge window 1, you caught the living hell out of Oddish, you're good.
If you're going to vote, what are you voting for? Give me your top 3 priorities, because I think I have an idea of what your number 1 priority is.
Number 1 is grass. I mean, it has to be Stardust bonus. We need Stardust. You don't understand how much Stardust it takes. I used 355,000 Stardust yesterday to max out a Golem, a Machamp with both of the right movesets, and half of another Golem.
God.
2.5 Pokemon to max out all the way. It is a grind, and it takes you weeks to develop that much Stardust. Not days, weeks.
Of hard
playing, yes.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I'm teaching one class this summer, so it makes it much easier. But, man, it just is a grind. So, yes, grass number 1. Number 2 is definitely water. We want the XP bonus. And candy doesn't bother me as much anymore, so I have to say my number 3 is probably going to be, just to see what it's going to be, the normal. Number 3, the encounter rate.
Yeah, that one I think is a sleeper on this list, just because it really kind of depends on how much. If it just goes bananas with the encounter rate, if they're just Pokemon stacking up on Pokemon, that could be really cool.
I could sit in my house and catch 700 Pokemon. That'd be amazing.
Dope.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of there between the normal and the electric. I kind of like the egg distance. When you're just mowing through eggs, you're getting high IV Pokemon as well as candy and Stardust bonuses. So to
and
me,
XP.
that's sort of I'm sort of right there. Electric's pretty high up on my list. And just listen to what Les was saying. It'd be kind of cool if they started applying. We could just go crush normal, get that bonus, and then in the next 2 windows go nuts because we've increased the encounter rate. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but I do think that's going to be something we're going to be talking about at Pokemon Go Fest.
Well, if you have 12,000 people at Grant Park, I honestly think that all 6 of these are doable. I mean, it depends, obviously, how much Niantic says you have to catch this much. But I think it's going to be... I honestly think that all 6 of these are going to happen.
I think it'll be interesting, and we'll definitely talk about this as we go down towards the Mystery Challenge, just how high of a bar Niantic is going to set, how challenging they're going to make it. We got the Grant Park team. They're going to be capturing these different types during those challenge windows at 11, 12, and 3. That's what we're going to be doing in Grant Park. But the global team, the rest of the world, they also have a mission during those 3 times. And that mission is to catch as many Pokemon as humanly freaking possible.
Well, let me say this also. If you're in the Houston area and you listen to the podcast, I will be down at Discovery Green catching and catching and catching and catching. So I definitely say come on out. I'm going to lure Discovery Green. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be fun. So there's at least a mini event that you can come and do in Houston if you're around, because I'm going to be catching as much as I can to be part of the global event.
And right there, what Lust is doing is a great example. Definitely get involved with your local communities. Get on those Facebooks, those Slapchats, those Discords.
What's a slap chat?
It's a Slack chat.
Oh, man, that sounds painful.
Ow. Ow.
It's if somebody replies all to an email, you get to knock out. Yeah, so get involved with the community out there to try and help out. And it's going to be a great time. And there's 3 different tiers that we're trying to unlock. So it's definitely, we don't know how many the global team is going to have to catch to achieve each tier, but we know what the general sort of rewards are. If we achieve the bronze tier, we increase the bonus duration by 24 hours. If the global team achieves the silver tier, we increase the bonus duration by 48 hours. And if we get gold tier, another mystery challenge is unlocked. I hope a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, it's obviously going to be a Rubik's Cube. So,
which is good because I can solve a Rubik's Cube now.
Can you really?
Articuno.
This is the so bonuses that we talked about earlier that the Grant Park team is going to
Zapdos
unlock.
doesn't get a creepy whisper?
No.
Zapdos.
There it is. The Grant Park bonuses, right? That double Stardust or whatever that Stardust is. The more Pokemon the global team catch, the longer that train's going to roll there in those challenge windows. If you guys do your part, then we'll make sure that you get those bonuses for as long as possible. We don't know how long the bonuses are going to last. We just know that if we hit silver, they'll last 48 hours longer than if, nobody played Pokemon Go that day. I got to say, though, guys, since the Mystery Challenge and Phase 2 and 3 are all predicated on the global team hitting gold tier, I would be real surprised if that didn't happen. I would be just shocked.
That's why Niantic isn't releasing the bar. We're hitting the Mystery Challenge.
I think your 6 to 7 p.m. in Grant Park is going to be the coolest thing in the entire world.
And that brings us to the Mystery Challenge. So, right, we're going to be during the day catching those fire Pokemon, catching those grass Pokemon, getting you those cool bonuses. And then the global team, they're going to help us get to the Mystery Challenge because if you hit that gold tier, if the global team catches a crap ton of Pokemon, then, and only then, will we proceed to Phase 2. And that is 6 p.m. Central Time, a Mystery Challenge opens up in Grant Park. And that's just going to be for the people in Grant Park for right now. So hold on. 6 p.m., July 22nd, the Mystery Challenge will start. And they've been vague-ish, I think would be the appropriate word for what this Mystery Challenge is going to be. Do you, either of you have any doubts this is where they're going to release the first legendary Pokemon?
I have no doubt. No doubt whatsoever that this is going to be
It's a question of which one and how many.
In all honesty, I think it's going to be all of the 3 birds and Mewtwo.
Ooh, 4 at once?
I think it's going to be all 4 of them.
So you're thinking we're walking away from Grant Park with 4 legendaries.
I think this is huge. I think this is going to be huge, and I think you're going to be able to either catch all 4 or you're going to be able to, you're doing legendary raid bosses for the duration of that hour.
I will go so hard, you don't even know.
Because it'd be great if they had 4 gyms just set up. One has Mewtwo, one has Articuno, one has Zapdos, one has Moltres. And you can just do all 4 of them.
So we did see on the supposed leaked map graphic, again, we can't confirm that it's real, but on the map graphic, there was a gym tower outside of each of the lounges, and in the front of the main stage, there was the ultimate tower. So that checks out with what you're saying.
That's where part of my speculation comes from.
So, Salt, you were saying, though, you think it's going to be a battle between the teams to see which legendary gets released. Do you still think it's going to be that?
I still think so. Either way, Team Pokemon Go Radio is going to have a plan for what Lust speculation was, as well as this one, if it goes down that way. But I really think what's going to end up happening is one of the legendary birds is going to get released, and we're going to be fighting and catching that at the ultimate gym pillar. I still think that they're going to limit it, especially since this is the biggest bullet in the gun left. It's going to be that first legendary, and it'll open up legendary raids that we're going to be able to participate in our communities after we go home. I don't see a way that they're going to let us have an opportunity to catch all 4. Now, granted, with the hour time limit, you're going to have to prioritize, which is also fascinating. But I still think it's going to be whichever team wins Pokemon Go Fest and their legendary bird. I hope I'm wrong.
Just the way the timers work out, I mean, depending on the spawn rates for the raid bosses, it could be a situation where you've got an option and you might not be able to come away with all 4. Like, mathematically, it might be impossible. You might have to choose 2. Or, it might be a real struggle to get all 4. I'm still just trying to adjust my expectations.
Good job, Niantic, selling raid passes,
My other speculation, though, is you have so many people coming from far and wide across the world to come to this fest. I think that it would be a disgrace to spend that much money to come to Pokemon Go Fest and not walk away with at least 1. But I honestly think all 4. I think that's why it's giving you an hour. So you have an hour, maybe it takes 10 minutes to fight each one. Boom, you have 4 of them in 40 minutes.
That would be the most stressful hour of my entire life.
with 10,000 friends helping you.
That's true. Yeah, so we'll be knocking him in the do Mewtwo have teeth? I don't know, but I'm going to find him, and he better start counting them, because I am going to be all about those raids. Guys, follow us on Twitter if you want to know what's going on in Grant Park at 6 p.m. Central. We're going to be tweeting the crap out of it. You can follow us at Pokemon Go Radio _Facebook. There's not going to be a lot of time to answer emails or do other stuff.
Did you say _Facebook?
Sure, I probably did. I was gonna say.
Pokemon Go _radio.
Yeah, Pokemon Go _Facebook is is that Magby Radio? Is that the account? People are having trouble finding that.
Just say the Twitter handle.
The actual Twitter handle is Pokemon Go _radio. We just checking to make sure I could do it. Point is, we're not gonna have time to mess with Facebook or emails or all those other things. We'd love to be all about all that. But because we're going to be hustling to try to get through all these raids and cover as much as we can for you guys, and because we're just selfish and want to be there, we are going to be tweeting it up, but we're also going to be trying to do these raids. So if you're interested in knowing what's going on, we'll be live tweeting that. That's phase 2, right? Phase 1, those challenge windows, working that bonus stuff. Phase 2 is all about the mystery challenge and probably what we suspect are legendary Pokemon. I'm just going to adjust my expectations and just hope for one, and then we'll see what happens. But if you guys were thinking during phase 2, well, that kind of sucks for the global team. We're going to do all this work, and then these guys at 6 p.m. are going to get all the glory. Not true. Phase 3 is the global reward, and that's where we transition from Grant Park to the larger community.
If the Grant Park team completes the mystery challenge, a reward is going to be unlocked globally. The window is 23 through 24 July, and that is about all the information we have on this. So what is this thing?
I don't think it's going to be legendary.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think it's going to be legendaries. I think that they're going to... I don't know. Like, I don't have an option, but I really don't think they're going to release legendaries to the rest of us.
I would be surprised. I do think it's legendaries, because I think there's going to be so much hype built on social media and in the news and everything around Pokemon Go that I think it would behoove Niantic to keep that ball going for 2 more days. Give the community, be like, for 2 days only, get out there and raid, and get you a legendary Pokemon. Like, maybe the mystery challenge is who among the teams will win. And, if Instinct somehow, puts down the glue they were eating and manages to win, then there's Zapdos that are popping up in level 5 raids. Like, maybe that's what's going to happen. The phrase completes the mystery challenge makes me think that that's interesting, right? There's a definitive sort of objective tied to the mystery challenge. I don't know what that means, but like Salt said, there's just so little information. I'm kind of piecing everything apart. So we got 1 vote for legendaries. We got 1 vote for no legendaries. Break the tie, Salt. What is the global reward?
Well, the complete phase 2 mystery challenge makes me think we're going to have to beat Mewtwo. I'm going back on my own argument from earlier, but man, I could definitely see a huge raid where hundreds of us are fighting to beat Mewtwo all at once and potentially getting a Master Ball and catching Mewtwo, and then maybe that. But I disagree. I'm gonna keep it in the genetics here. I think it's gonna be the 23 through 24 July is gonna be legendary raids are opening up in the world. I think that's what's going to happen. And think about what this does from a narrative point of view. Right now, if only people in Team Grant Park get access to legendaries, the narrative is, oh, they paid to get that. They went out there, they got that because they had the money to go there, and the rest of the world gets hosed. If by completing a challenge we are able to allow the rest of the world to access to legendaries, then the legendary experience goes global. Yeah, sure, maybe not everybody gets access to the same number. Maybe they're not guaranteed. Maybe the raids are harder. I don't know. But now, just because somebody has a legendary Pokemon, it doesn't mean it was because they traveled to Grant Park and paid that money.
Yeah, I mean, if we didn't have a whole podcast community behind us supporting our trip, we probably wouldn't be going. I mean, we might not be able to go, and I would probably, maybe I wouldn't say those things, but I would certainly feel them in my heart. I would have some resentment to the Grant Park team. To play devil's advocate, though, and to talk about what Lus was saying, the statement or the idea that you're going to have to do something to be invited to raids, you're going to have to raid a certain number of times or, earn it in some way. This tight of a window doesn't really allow for that earning. So is this a situation where they're like, one time only, here's your 1 legendary you can get for 2 days, and then later on, if you want more, you got to earn it through raiding or earning badges? Do you think it'll shake out that way? I mean, the thing that makes me really think it's got to be it's got to be legendary Pokemon. I just don't know what else it would be. Is it like a giant Pikachu and a sombrero? Like, what would people... I think anything short of legendary, they're going to be sad.
Shinies.
Yeah? Ooh.
I've thought about it for a little bit, and honestly, I think shinies are going to be the global reward.
Just blanket shinies.
Blanket shinies.
Turn it on the shiny switch.
Turn on the shiny switch.
That is hard to say. Shiny switch.
And that's hard to swallow, especially since thinking that people in Grant Park are going to be able to get those legendaries. I mean, they've pretty much already said legendaries are coming, and legendaries are probably going to be at Grant Park. And to be honest, like that beginning of you all being able to have that exclusive access to them doesn't bother me at all. Like, it doesn't bother me that the people in Grant Park are going to be able to get those, because we're going to get them eventually. Like, you think to that point. But if they release shinies all over the world, I think that would definitely increase the amount of players who are enthusiastic.
I still think people might be disappointed, but if it was global shinies, that would be a pretty cool thing to do.
That's it. I just like that we have multiple perspectives on this podcast, people that are going to Grant Park and somebody that's not. But I think more than anything, let's get some feedback from the community. Let us know what you guys think. Those of you who are going to Pokemon Go Fest and those of you who aren't, what are you going to be happy with and what's going to make you upset? And just let us know, just to try and gauge expectations and try and put our arms around this big thing. All eyes are going to be on Niantic in Saturday, and I don't mean by people who play this game. I mean, this is huge for mobile gaming, for virtual reality. Yeah, just the gaming industry. This is going to be a global news story on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know. People talk about Pokemon Go not being a real game or being an app game or whatever, but like, you show me the game that's going to get 12,000 people in a park somewhere, and then you show me a game that while that's going on, the rest of the world is going to be simultaneously linked up to what they're doing and freaking out collectively. Like, millions of people on July 22nd are going to be paying attention to what's going on around the world with this game. Outside of our biased perspective as content creators for this game, that is a unique and special thing that has not been replicated anywhere else. Like, bring it on, Call of Duty. You try to do a Call of Duty fest and see if you can get 12,000 people to show up. I'm betting that's not going to happen.
Especially when you have thousands, if not millions, of people who are disappointed that they couldn't go. I mean, I'm one of those disappointed people who can't go. I tried to get tickets. It didn't work. So it's definitely, a lot of those people are disappointed, and you don't want to go onto the secondary market and spend 10 times the amount for a ticket. You have to experience it a different way.
And I think that Niantic's done a good job of doing that. It's all going to be in execution because, like Salt said, all eyes are going to be on Grant Park. The other couple of things we want to talk about, if you are not able to go to Grant Park and you live in Europe, which you got one of those, Lust, so that's cool. I think lost in the shuffle of the news are these safari zones that are going to be happening. So, Salt, tell us what safari zones are in the game, just so we have a little bit of context about what we can expect, and then what's going on, and I dare you to pronounce the name of that shopping center correctly.
I could do it. Safari zones back in the game were these unique areas that your character's avatar would go into, and you would catch Pokemon in this little zone, but it was different. You wouldn't battle Pokemon down. You would have different tools that you could catch. There was time limits, special balls, and in these zones, you could catch rare or weird Pokemon that you wouldn't have access to outside of the Safari Zone. What's going to be happening in the real world is these Safari Zone events are going to be hosted at the Unibel Radamenco, dang it,
not even
shopping
close.
centers.
What did you call it? Unimabel?
Unibel and Radamenco.
Unibel Radamco.
I think Lust got it.
Yeah, first one of those is going to be in Copenhagen and Prague on August 5th. Then you got it followed up at Stockholm and Amsterdam on August 12th, and then Oberhausen, Paris, and Barcelona on September 16th. Barcelona. And we'll link a Pokemon Go Hub article with the schedule. Eat some cured ham if you're in Barcelona.
Oh, yeah, that's good stuff. The two things that we know that are going to be happening at these Safari Zone events is that they've said that you're going to be able to catch, like Salt was saying from the Game Boy game version, rare Pokemon. And they've gone up to the line of saying essentially you're going to be able to catch regional exclusives at these Safari Zone events. The graphic they released had rare Pokemon like Ampharos and Snorlax, but then they also had a Kangaskhan hanging out on a map of Europe. So to me, that says at least one of these regional exclusives that you can't catch in Europe are going to be there for sure.
And Kangaskhan is the poster child for Red and Blue version of the Safari Zone exclusive Pokemon.
Yeah, I would say I can't guarantee that Kangaskhan is going to be there, but Kangaskhan is going to be there at these events. I would book that at least. Maybe a Farfetch, maybe something else cool like a Heracross. Don't know for sure, but hopefully that's the case. The other thing that they've said is going to happen is that there's going to be some unique and powerful raid bosses that show up to these Safari Zone events. So, Lust, what do you think they mean by unique and powerful raid bosses? What could that be?
I believe that at that point we're going to see legendaries, and I think that those will be it. Although it also could mean the beginning of a raid migration.
Ooh, I would like that.
So we could see Blissey and Dragonite.
Yeah, it's odd to me that there's level or Generation 1 Pokemon that still could be raid bosses, but there's a distinct lack of Gen 2. Other than Tyranitar and like a couple of the level 1 ones, like everything is Gen 1. So there's a lot of Pokemon. Actually, that might just speak to kind of the Gen 2 Pokemon being kind of boring for the most part. I said it. But yeah, I would hope to see a raid migration at some point, see the little diversity in there, but not before I catch some more Snorlax, please.
Caught 2 of them today. Also, for our friends in Japan, they've got the event coming up, Pikachu Outbreak. The Pokemon Company is having their annual Pikachu Outbreak in Yokohama, Japan, August 19th through the 15th. And this year, they're going to include some kind of Pokemon Go tie-in, but no details have been released yet.
So you going to Japan, Les?
No.
What is a Pikachu Outbreak?
It sounds like something you need a cream for, you know?
I say it's going to be Pikachu with a new hat.
That would be so great. So you know how like Family Guy would do those bits where they would just take it on and on and on until it wasn't funny anymore, and then it would get funny? I'm really hoping that Niantic adopts the same strategy for Pikachu hats. Like they just start trolling people with the hats since everyone got so mad, including me, about the hats for the anniversary event. Like what if they're just like, another hat, you know, like they keep doing whatever they're going to do, but then they're just like, as a joke, to say like, hey guys, we get it, you know, haha, here's another hat.
I like that. We'll keep you posted as we get a little bit closer and more details come out for the Pikachu Outbreak and what the integration with Pokemon Go might entail. Whew, that was a ton of news this week.
Speaking of tons, we've got tons of awesome Pokemon, and that's why we have Catch of the Week to talk about all those awesome catches. You know, like a catch of the week, like when you're in love with somebody and you catch them every week. No, it doesn't make sense in that context. It only makes sense when you're talking about fish, like a catch of the week.
It was the mon that got away. That's the fish.
But they mirror each other. We've been over this. We've been arguing about this for like a week. Vote on Twitter. Tell us who's right. Salt, I'm going to let you read this novel, this epic Tolsky? I don't know literature. This amazing piece of literature that David crafted about this just fantastic catch that he had.
Let me read it.
Okay.
It was late Wednesday afternoon and my fiance and I were debating what to eat for the evening. Chinese food off the table. I was feeling a little down when my phone buzzed. I pull it out and see a text from my fellow Pokemon Goer Weapon X. Tyranitar by our friend NLR Forever's house. 45 minutes left on the raid. We race over as safely as the situation permits and pull up to NLR Forever's house with about 10 minutes left on the raid. He and Weapon X jump in and we drive 2 blocks to the small church, temporarily home of the Dragon of Earth and Darkness. We join and set our teams prepared to slay and contain the beast, but our group of 5, though formidable in spirit, is not equal to the task. Suddenly, there are 9 fighters. An air of elation sweeps through the vehicle. There's no doubt this time we are going to do this. We make war and win, though Jerry runs out of vowels, unable to continue the fight and sadly unable to rejoin us because the raid has expired. A few rewards and screens of information are skipped over and the attempt to catch the dragon commences. Tyranitar's a dragon?
Not really.
Anyway, yeah, I was going to say. And I'm feeling cocky, so I toss a pineapple berry. 20 Larvitar candies would be nice. I have 13 premium balls and toss the first, and it doesn't happen. Having regained my composure, I pineapple him again, toss my 4th premium ball, and I get a critical catch.
Oh, well read.
Nuts. Yeah. Mad props to David and Pure Lust for that amazing rendition. He's got a background in speech and debate, obviously. We did something that's never happened before. Dave, I read this email on Monday, and I declared it the catch of the week on Monday. Nobody else had a chance this week. He was the only person to catch the Tyranitar from that raid, and he did it with a critical catch on a Pinap Berry. And he wrote just a really impressive email. Mad props to David for that.
Yeah, that was a really cool story. My story is...
he signed it Tamer of Dragons.
Yeah, you got to do that. As Les points out, not technically a dragon in type. It's obviously a rock dark Pokemon, but a dragon in spirit, I would say,
yes.
Like a Godzilla. Fun fact, in the original Japanese movies, Godzilla is a combination of 2 animals. Can anybody guess which 2 animals those are?
An iguana?
Nope. It's weird. It's real weird.
Komodo dragon.
Nope.
No. I guess I
A
lose
whale
this one.
and a gorilla that got radioactive somehow and turned into a Godzilla.
That's nonsense.
That's a thing.
No.
Those are both mammals.
It doesn't make sense. I know. The other thing that's weird is you were bragging last week about taking on like a Vaporeon or something stupid by yourself. I soloed a couple of Machamp raids this week by myself, which are obviously a step above on the tier 3 spectrum. I soloed it. I caught it. It was pretty awesome. It had not great IVs. I went ahead and chucked it. Got those candies. Got some rare candies. I was pretty happy about that.
So my catch of the week is going to be, we were out earlier today in Pensacola, Pepper and I, and we were rolling around, and right before we came home, we saw level 4 was going off in a little park by a fountain, and we wanted to hit that before we came home. We knew we probably couldn't take out a level 4 between the two of us, but we were hoping if we got there when the timer hit 0, we might find some buddies. And find some buddies we did. We actually stumbled across the Pensacola raid group that was just out just slaying level 4s. They have an extremely active Facebook chat where they're just constantly letting everybody know where the level 4s are going, planning, working it out. We destroyed this snot salmon, not even trying. And then we rolled over to another park across town and killed another snot salmon with this group. Just getting in that community, understanding the people, like hanging out, just a great time. Awesome people. Like one of the kids, one of the guys had his son there who has Asperger's, doesn't normally like to get out, but loves playing Pokemon and just really likes interacting with people in the group. And I don't know, man. That to me was the promise of Pokemon Go, was getting out, meeting people, coordinating, everybody just super elated when we took down the Snorlax at the second stop, and just being happy. So both of those snot salmon are my catch of the week. And more importantly, that raid group and that sense of community are my catch of the week.
I know that feel, bro. You know, Charles McFall from Pokemon Go podcast was talking. He still doesn't have a Snorlax. I still don't have a good Snorlax. Terry Wolf, the Thunder Wolf, is saying we got to get up and raid together all at Pokemon Go Fest, and maybe we can all catch some snot salmon together.
So I've had a Golem since July 2nd, or not a Golem, but it was a Geodude on July 2nd, and yesterday I did a couple of Lucky Egg evolutions, and I made him a Golem, and was at a point where I was like, okay, he had Stone Edge, or no, he had Rock Throw, but he did not have Stone Edge. He had Rock Throw, and I can't remember what his second move was. So yesterday I used a Charge TM, turned that old move into a Stone Edge, and now I have a Legend Killer that has been maxed out at a 28-23 Golem that is ready to take down some Articuno, Zapdos, and
Nice.
yeah, Moltres.
Fire Chicken, I
Yeah,
believe
Fire
it's-
Chicken, yes.
Yeah, I'm looking at this thing right now. It is sexy. It's got like spinal bifida, you know, because it's all hunched over, but man, I'd tap that.
We're going to edit that out. I actually have two 98% Geodudes. One is a Graveler now. I guess one's still a Geodude. And I'm just cringing. When you said the numbers to power them up, I looked at my Stardust reserves and just cried.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot.
Have fun with that.
Speaking of things that get away from you, we also have a section called The Mon That Got Away, which is about love songs, but also about the Pokemon that you just weren't able to catch, or a disappointment that you felt this week. And we've got a shout out from Jeff.
Jeff was really bummed out. He was coming by this nature preserve in his area. It was late at night, and he looked on the screen and saw that what are the odds at two different Pokestops behind the nature reserve wall were a Larvitar and a Dratini just back there, I guess, having a party, taunting him. And he seriously contemplated just breaking in there and just going full B&E to get those two rare Pokemon. But luckily, Jeff did not do that. He's not in jail. Yeah, man, that is the worst because they're just so close, but just so far.
Jeff just didn't want it bad enough.
No breaking and entering. No, just don't do it.
So mine was pretty simple, but just as heartbreaking. The charge move TM Conundrum, it finally got the best of me. I had a Vaporeon 98% maxed out with Water Pulse, and I used a charge TM 2 weeks ago to change it, and unfortunately I got Aqua Tail, so better than Water Pulse, but not great. And I was getting ready to fight an Arcanine raid. I needed the extra DPS. I had an extra charge TM, and I thought, I'm going to go for it. I used it, and of course I got Water Pulse, and now I'm down 2 charge TMs, and I'm right back where I started. And I know that just because I use another charge TM in it doesn't mean I'm guaranteed to get Hydro Pump this time. And I just see myself in this vicious cycle of Aqua Tail, Water Pulse, back and forth. And I'm just disappointed because I covet those TMs so much. That Water Pulse on my epic Vaporeon is my Mon That Got Away.
I mean, just, you could get good. You could get good and solo some level 3 raids like your brother.
I do solo level 3 raids.
But not like Machamp. Okay, I'm flexing.
Listen to episode 50 and realize that Nar is just speaking out of his face.
Flexing. It's good. Yeah, unfortunately, my Mon That Got Away is a twofold. The last two 10k eggs I hatched, I picked them up right before July 8th, and they were both Pineco. And I hatched them last week. It's just like two last middle fingers from Niantic as these pine cones came out of my... I'm happy to know that's never going to happen again, but I'm almost kind of happy because it was like, that's about right. That feels the way it's supposed to as I said goodbye to Pineco forever. I'm going to evolve both of them. I think I've got like 150 freaking Pineco candy at this point. I'm just going to start throwing them in gyms because I got them. I don't care what goes in gyms. Just do it.
Fortress is a good defender.
He is, and now that CP
Unless somebody knows to use fire.
But now that CP is like not such a big deal anymore, it's like, hey, why not do something weird?
Exactly. My mom that got away is something we talked about earlier. I lived the dream. I had 9 10Ks.
Oh.
They started to hatch.
How do you have the patience for that?
I just get those eggs and just get rid of them. Eggs, get rid of them. And 9 10K eggs, and today 4 of them were manteens.
Oh, that's too many.
So that's just too many that's almost half of them being manteens.
What are the odds?
You can't have, half, but still, 4 of them being manteens.
Would you feel better if it was like Mantine Gligar, Mantine Pineco? I would.
I mean, and even the Larvitar was not a wonder. I'm Team Mystic, unlike these fools.
That's fair. I think Valor is foolish.
Was not a wonder, so I had to get rid of him, and also the Dratini was not a wonder either. So it was just a bad 9K, 10K hatching today. I mean, I'm not going to disappoint with the 43,000 Stardust, but whatever.
Oh, that is nice.
Yes.
So we're running a little bit tight on time, and we're going to just roll into questions real quick. We've only got 2 this week. We'll get to the other one next week. And I do want to encourage, guys, you're asking a lot of really thoughtful, intelligence questions, but I got to do another plug for the stupid questions. They've really petered off here. Please ask stupid questions like, what's your favorite drink and snake? Or what's the color of a mirror? Or, stupid questions that are funny, not necessarily cliche. Just, find that sweet spot and hit it with your stupid questions because we like to answer stupid questions.
Well, Giller Pie asks a great question, and he says, what is combat power still good for? Should I stop putting so much stock in it, or am I missing something? Giller Pie, the answer is combat power is still extremely important, but it's much more narrowly focused now. So back before the raid update and the gym update, you needed a much wider spectrum of Pokemon and types and combat power. Your Prestigers, your 1600, your 1100 Flareon and Vaporeon and Jolteon, those were useful, even though you were never going to put Stardust into them because you needed them to be half the CP for the old gym system. Now that that's out the window, all you really need is a team of high IV perfect Pokemon that you're going to invest your Stardust into. Because theoretically, you just need 6 Pokemon at a given time for an encounter. And if you can defeat a raid boss, like once you're able, like Nara, to solo a Machamp, you don't need any more Psychic Pokemon. You're good. You can spend your Stardust other places to raise that combat power up. But combat power still vital and crucial for being able to solo raids or do raids that are higher level with less people. And as we look forward to legendaries, every DPS point is going to count because I cannot imagine the disappointment if you're not able to down that legendary Pokemon and get it to the opportunity to catch.
Yeah, if you guys want to know more about the math, I refer you back to Ron has a great article. We published it on the website. It's the real CP math. We also have one up by him that's called the real stat math, and he goes into really deep detail about how the numbers are calculated, but in a way that's really easy to understand. I'm a dummy when it comes to math, and even I understood it. So check those out on the website, PokemonGoRadio.com. If you just scroll down through the posts, like in the log of all the podcasts, you'll just see those articles. Those were both really helpful in me trying to wrap my head around CP. And even though the gym system has changed structurally, CP remains the same.
Becky says, I have probably gone 2 months or more without getting a single 10K egg. I've been spending pretty much all the time the same stops, and I'm wondering, do I need to go different places to get a 10K egg? I'm wondering if certain stops only give 2K or 5K eggs. So basically your question boils down to, are all stops created equal when it comes to eggs? I think, Les, you're a poster child for hatching 10K eggs at the moment. Do you want to give some insight on this?
There's not much insight I can give you other than you're just not getting 10K eggs. I mean, that's all I can pretty much say is you're just not getting 10K eggs. Keep hatching and keep hoping because it's still random.
It just depends. There's been periods where I'm not walking very much because of work or whatever, and so I'm not hatching as many eggs. But I remember there was a period one time where I hatched like 23 eggs in a row without getting a 10K, and I was getting pretty salty about it. It's supposed to be 12%. That's the drop rate. Just a little over 1 out of 10 eggs should be a 10K egg, But if you're only hatching like a 5K every other day, then it's going to take a long time to get those 10K eggs. But I totally understand Becky's frustration because it does seem like sometimes, especially if you're kind of, going through your normal routine, those 10K eggs just aren't dropping. So if there is a correlation, we haven't detected it yet, and the Pokescience is kind of out on that. But even if there is a correlation, Becky, it's probably so small that it wouldn't matter.
6 to 8 months ago, I think the Sylph Road did an article where they tried to figure this out, and they did discover through hundreds and hundreds of spins that some stops might be predisposed to give out more 10K eggs than others. However, the difference was minuscule. And with all the changes that have happened since then, I think before we declared some stops duds and some stops heroes, we would need a full-scale level research to be able to say that for sure.
And you should be spinning every Pokestop you encounter anyway.
Do you throw out items to make room? Like
Yes.
Yeah? You're still throwing out those Nanab berries?
I don't keep revives anymore. I don't keep any potions other than max potions. I just keep max revives, max potions. Nana berries are useless other than to feed into gyms. I keep very minimal amounts of berries other than pineapple berries. Pineapple berries are your best berry.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not getting rid of golden raspberries because they help catch Pikachus with the Ash Hat.
Ash Hat?
Ash Hat.
I think he's saying Ash Hat.
I think it's
Ash
Ash Hat. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it, guys. I think we did the Ash Hat ass hat joke. And now I think we're legally, I'm getting the sign, we have to stop podcasting now. That was 3. Max was 3. We're not allowed to do it anymore.
Awesome. Hey, so thanks everybody for listening. I can kind of understand this week and next week and the week after with all the stuff that's going on, why you would want to listen. But thanks for checking us out. If you have more questions, you can always hit us up in the interim between podcasts at our Twitter handle at Pokemon Go _radio, or check us out on Facebook at Pokemon Go Radio, or email us at info@PokemonGoRadio.com. Make sure you tag the subject line as abuse for Papa Narwhal. That way I'll make sure he reads it.
We'll definitely get it on there. 2 quick notes, guys. If you're interested in getting a t-shirt, I just got a little email from TeePublic. If you are interested in buying a shirt, you can use the promo code Pokemon Go Radio until July 18th. So that's tomorrow, Tuesday, if you're listening to this on Monday, and you get 20% off your order. I think it's your order. It might just be one shirt, but I'm pretty sure it's your order. So use that, save a couple of bucks if you're interested in getting a t-shirt. And the last time you'll ever hear us say anything about it on the GoFundMe link, if you guys have been thinking about chipping in a little bit of money, this is the last time we'll ask you about it. You can just find that link on our page, PokemonGoRadio.com. You can click that, and $5, whatever you want to give, that really means a lot and helps us put that out there. And we've got a lot of big announcements coming up this week about what we're going to be doing at Pokemon Go Fest, but we can absolutely confirm right now that we will be doing our regular show. It'll come out a week from today. You can listen to it on Monday, and it will just be jam-packed with everything that went on at Pokemon Go Fest. We will be probably, I don't even think we'll sleep on Saturday night. It'll be fresh in our minds, and that show will drop on late Sunday night, and you guys can check that out. We're pretty excited about doing that. And there's going to be some other tidbits as well.
Also, if you're interested, there will be a link for the RSVP on Friday night at Howls and Hood. All the details will be on the page, and you can check out our website for more details. But a lot of people have RSVP'd so far. It should be a good time, 7:30 on Friday night.
Dank memes, yada yada. Lust, thanks for coming on, man. It's been a blast having you back. I feel like we've come full circle.
Well, hopefully it's not full circle because, when you guys were talking about episode 10, you were talking about that being the last episode.
Oh,
and
yeah.
now this is episode 51. So,
I think 100. I
hope it's before 100 that I come back, but I would definitely love to come back and talk Pokemon Go because I love this game just as much as the two of you. So I think that it would definitely be fun to come back. And
it's not a competition, Lust.
Well, no shade to any of our other guests, but Lust he's the hardest Pokemon Go player I personally know. It's just been amazing having you on the show to drop that knowledge, drop that insight.
Yeah, level 39.
I read as much as you guys do. We play as much as you guys. I mean, you guys play too, so you two are hardcore as well. So it's nice to.
I'm like
to be able
33
to
hardcore,
Yeah, but you also have a job that you work 9 to 5.
Boo.
So and you travel a lot too. And
not when I get that internet money.
And Salt has a job that he works 9 to 5 also. I'm a teacher.
Whoa, no, I don't. don't tell the military I work 9 to 5. I don't need them looking for me. And hit us up on social media. We've got new shows coming out every Monday.
And in the meantime, go freaking catch 'em all.
I went back and listened to the podcast again.
Oh God, you went back and
I went
why?
back and listened to 10 again because I couldn't remember what I called myself.
I wanna be the very best, like no one
I don't
ever
understand.
was.
What are you
What is
doing?
that
Them
noise?
is my real test.
God.
What?
Train them is my cause.
Dude,
Hey, stop. Why are you doing that?
stop. Why?
Are we not singing?
No, man, that was so episode 10. Why are you doing that again? We can't go back. We got to go forward.
This
Are
is
you
actually a
serious? We're not-
popular. This is actually a popular podcast now.
People listen.
You can't sing,
Dude, I took singing lessons.
There are
I paid for them,
trademark
dude.
stuff involved
You
at this
wasted
point.
your money.
Yeah, get a refund.
Are
man.
you? I put a lot of. I don't know. Train them is my cause.
No.
Shut it down.
No. If this was The Voice, we would not turn our chairs.
If this was America's Got Talent, I would say you do not have talent. I think that's how the show works. I've never seen it before.